Welcome to Little Bracket of Horrors, the pod that puts the fight in fright.
Welcome back, everyone. I'm Derek,
I'm Shelly.
and today we have a special guest with us. We got Jason, and what's up, buddy?
What's up, guys? Thanks for having me on your podcast.
Jason, thank you so much for joining us on this episode. Jason and I have been friends for a little bit.
Yeah, about 16 years maybe?
Yeah, you were one of my first friends when I moved to Florida.
Yep, same.
It was a combination of footy and horror films that brought us together.
Yep.
So-
And I'd moved all the way from Perth, Australia at that time, and I had no friends.
There you go.
You guys had a lot of common.
Yeah.
No friends.
No friends.
It was a match made in heaven.
Back on floor one again.
Yeah,
In life.
you went away for a little bit. You were up in New York for a while.
Yeah,
And then
Philly.
were you back in Australia for a little bit too?
No, I almost did, but I had reasons to stick around.
Yeah. Florida's great.
Yeah, I'm enjoying it still.
Awesome. Well, I'm glad you're back. And
Oh,
I'm glad you're recording with us.
Yeah. we're happy to
that's
have
great.
you.
I appreciate
Awesome.
you guys having me.
Just like anytime we have a new guest on the show, we like to ask them some horror-based questions, so
Yep.
everyone out there can get
We want to get to know you.
get their finger on the pulse.
Get a little
that is
read
Jason.
on what kind of horror
Yes.
genres you like.
Oh,
and
yeah,
whatnot.
I love them all.
Awesome. So, Jason, first question is, what was the first horror movie you remember watching?
All right, so I remember when I was a kid, I think I might have been around maybe eight or nine, going through the horror section of the VHS store. We didn't have Blockbuster in Australia, but something similar.
Oh, okay. Do you remember what it was called?
Yeah, Champagne Video.
Oh, no. Fancy.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
They were going for class.
Yes.
But my parents were like, all right, you can pick a PG movie.
Okay.
So I was like, oh, yes, you know. So I found this movie called Monster in the Closet. And it was a old trauma movie.
Oh,
Really
really?
obscure one.
Okay.
And I didn't-
I've never heard of it. Monster in the Closet?
Yeah, and,
Okay.
and I was very like, you know, oh, this looks cool, you know, being a little kid, never having seen a horror movie before. And, I mean, you watch it now, it's cheesy as hell, but
Yeah.
when I was 10 years old, it scared the living, crap
Yeah,
out of
dude.
me. It was definitely
Do you
pretty
own
creepy.
it now in any capacity?
I do not. I almost did. I think it's on Tubi maybe.
Oh, okay.
On one of those streaming services.
Well, I know Troma just opened up that streaming service.
Oh, did they really?
They have their own streaming service.
I had no
so-
idea.
But yeah,
Their tagline is, "It's coming out."
Of course.
perfect. Awesome. What's the scariest thing that's ever happened to you, Jason?
I mean, probably coming close to dying is pretty scary.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. Almost drowned, I think.
Oof.
Was it near Lake Mungo?
Yeah.
I know.
Which isn't actually a
Yeah.
lake.
Yeah. It's
Someone
a dry
come
lake.
out.
We've discussed that.
That should-
Yeah, we did Lake Mungo a couple episodes ago. So.
It's actually Crystal Lake. No.
Oh, no. Oh, this
Got
makes
this hand
you are
grab me.
Jason, so this makes total sense.
Yeah.
So how old were you? What was if you don't mind?
I think I was about 12, I think, or 13.
Okay.
Around then.
Yeah.
I got sucked out by a rip. And trying
Ugh.
had a friend, he got pulled out first, and I tried to save him.
Oh no.
We managed to get back in, but yeah, it was pretty scary.
Good Lord. That is terrifying.
Yeah.
Did a lifeguard have to come out?
No, it was a beach that was pretty much deserted. We were the only two people on the beach, so yeah that's why it was scary.
Yeah.
Because no one would have known.
Yeah, man. That's terrifying.
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad the wave didn't finish the job on you.
Yeah, I'd be turning up as a zombie.
Speaking of, what would you rather be bitten by, Jason?
Oh.
Vampire, zombie, or werewolf?
I think that one's pretty easy.
Yeah?
A vampire. Yeah. I
Sure.
mean, there's not a whole lot downside to being a vampire, right? Except for you can't be in the sun.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, you
who
gotta stay
likes
away.
the sun anyways?
Yeah. Sun sucks. It gives you skin cancer and stuff.
So yeah, I think Shelly and I have said.
I think we're the
werewolf.
only werewolves.
Yeah, it seems like vampire is pretty common. We've had one person say zombie on a Spotify message.
Oh,
Someone
wow.
messaged us and said they'd be a zombie because they feel like a zombie anyways. Yeah. All right. So vampire is the reigning victor thus far.
You're going to come up with another monster that's like just as cool as being a vampire.
Yeah. What's another cool monster?
Invisible Man.
Okay.
Oh yeah, see that one would
That's
give
a
you
good one.
a way to think.
Invisible
You'd be like,
Man.
hang on a minute.
Maybe we should switch that question up and start.
Maybe
adding
add
it.
that
Yes,
instead of zombie.
Yes.
Because no one wants
I'm
zombie.
waiting for it. Well, I got it the one time, but
Especially if you're like a rage zombie. Who wants that?
oh, I know. You never get rest, and that's what we want.
You're
is
just
rest.
constantly like, "Bah." Anyways.
All right, Jason. Next question is: who do you think wins in a fight? Freddy, Jason, or Michael Myers?
I gotta go with my homeboy on this one.
Okay.
Jason. Yeah.
Jason?
Yeah.
And why is that?
Oh, I mean Freddy. I mean, assuming Jason's dead already, he's not really able to sleep, is he? I know in the movie they did that, try to get around that, but let's be honest, he's Jason's not gonna sleep. He's dead.
Let me grab my monster.
Yes, it's fine. I always like Freddy in in the question just because he can, obviously
Well,
the
Freddy
dream
can
place.
do, yeah.
He's got such a. I mean, they all have a supernatural element
Ability.
to them, anyways. But I think I love the creativity of
Yeah.
Freddy so much. If you're talking about strength, I don't think anyone's stronger than
Yeah.
Jason. Michael Myers is also in the same vein.
Yeah,
but
well, I
still.
feel like Michael Myers and Jason are pretty much the same kind of character. So they're both, undead, keep coming back alive,
Yeah.
Get their revenge.
evil incarnate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Freddy, he's just like crazy, so.
Yeah. He looks so cool and he does cool things.
Yeah.
All right, Jason, last question is, what's your favorite scary movie?
Well, that's tough. That's a really tough one. It's hard to say just one, but I'm a big fan of like the very cheesy 80s, like movies like Maniac. A lot of Dario Argento movies too, the 70s Giallo
Giallo
movies.
stuff, yeah.
Suspiria's up there.
Oh, nice.
I love that one. That one's
Can't
like,
help myself.
So good.
yeah, it's hard for me to pick just one.
Yeah.
I like that. Yeah, I could go for hours.
So it sounds like if it was like a genre, you would go with the
I like-
the Giallo.
Giallo
Like
or the
Italian horror?
early 80s, like
Maniac is great.
yeah, I love
It's such a good
Maniac.
movie, yeah.
That's just, like a masterpiece in my
Yeah,
opinion.
I enjoyed it a lot.
Joe Spinell, and of course what's his name doing all the special effects?
Savini.
Tom
Yeah.
Savini. Yeah.
Legendary scene in
Yeah.
Maniac.
Yeah.
With the gunshot to the head.
Oh yeah.
Of Savini. Savini's head exploded in
Yeah.
that. That was awesome.
Yeah.
So good.
Yeah, you can't go wrong with Savini on.
I don't think you can. All right, Jason. Well, I hope you feel like you expounded yourself to us. So thanks
Welcome to the fam.
welcome to the
Oh,
fam
appreciate it.
officially. And before we get into Event Horizon, play a little catch up. Shelly, have you watched anything scary or anything scary happen?
Yeah, so the person, I'm wearing an Event Horizon shirt. The company that did this shirt, Creeperama, they're having a leftover sale.
Yes.
Funny enough, they have a Maniac and a Suspiria shirt out in the leftover sale,
Nice.
but they had a Battle Royale shirt, which is like one of
I
up
love
there.
that movie too. Yeah.
So
Love that
good.
movie.
It's in our bag, Jason.
It is in the bag.
really?
You could choose it today.
Yeah, it's
Cross your fingers.
What's in the bag? So we got to talking, and my sister's like, "Oh, I've actually never watched Battle Royale," and I was like, "Oh, we're gonna watch it. I don't care that it's in the bag."
Yeah.
So we ended up watching Event Horizon last night and Battle
Battle
Royale.
Royale.
And she was like, it was 50% cheesy, 50% really. She did like it, but I mean, you watch it and being like a huge Hunger Games fan, I'm like, man, did they really
I
just
know.
dig into those nuances and make their own twist of it? I mean, I don't know if those creators would ever admit to it, but it is like 100% the same thing.
Yeah, the Hunger Games definitely took a lot.
A
Yeah.
lot from
Battle
Battle
Royale.
Royale. So we watched Battle Royale. Not super scary, but
Yeah.
It's more of a like anime style, like
Yeah.
Ultra-violent.
high school.
we watched it with
violence.
the American dub.
Yeah.
So it was a little like corny because they don't sound like themselves and their mouths don't match at all. But
No, that never syncs up quite right.
but yeah, haven't watched anything else besides that really.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've been busy. Ian has started his soccer journey. Practice has started last week. So I haven't watched a lot of stuff. It's funny that you watched a movie that was in our bag, but you've also previously watched
Yeah,
Battle
I've seen
Royale.
it. Yeah.
I do this little horror movie club at work with a couple of buddies, and they're like, "Okay, let's watch Triangle." And I was like, "No." And they're like, "What do you mean?" I was like, "It's on the podcast." And they're like, "Well, you can watch it now." I was like, "But here's the thing. I have yet to see Triangle, and I want the first time, if I'm going to watch it, to be on a show."
Same.
Yeah.
There's two movies that I
Yes.
haven't watched before that are in the bag: Triangle and Shouldn't Play with Dead Things.
Oh, yes.
I'm staying away from them because I really do want to be like fresh
Yeah.
if we pick them.
Agree. And that's why I was like, if we have something that's coming up on the show, like I want it to be fresh when I watch
Yeah.
it. And like, With this movie, you guys will see, like, I don't have a background with it, so I was made sure, like, okay, I'm coming in with a new perspective. Even though I'm a big horror fan, I've watched a ton of stuff, and I know what I like, it's still fresh eyes on this project. So when it was Triangle, I was like, guys, we got to pick something else. We can't do this.
Can't do it.
Can't do it. All right, Jason, what about you? Anything recent that you watched that you want to highlight and talk about?
Yeah, I mean, I've been watching a lot of, the newer horror movies and action. I just watched, the new Mad Max last night.
Oh, Furiosa.
Yeah.
Cool.
But trying to think if any horror movies stuck out.
Have you seen Longlegs? Yeah.
No, I have not
Go
seen
see
that
it.
yet. Is that good?
Happy birthday.
Yeah.
Go see it. It's great.
Okay.
I'll
yeah.
go see it with you.
Yeah, no, I
Have
already.
a date.
I just went to see Wolverine, Deadpool, and I saw.
I saw that
the
too.
long legs.
I have to watch
everywhere.
it still, but I haven't seen Loki season 2, and I feel like I need that.
Nah, you do? I don't think you do.
I don't think you don't need season 2.
But I'm such a completist.
I get it. I think Deadpool and Wolverine will be there for a while, so I'm sure you
Yeah,
can
it's
still
not
catch
going
it.
anywhere,
Yeah.
obviously.
So, check out Loki. I don't think you need it, but you're a completist. Knock it
I
off.
am very
and
much
then-
a complete
I got it.
complete list. But you know what I want to start doing? AMC has been doing this thing called Scream on Scene.
Oh,
Have you
okay.
heard of this? It's a cheaper movie. I want to say it's like $5, and they play a horror movie that hasn't been released yet. And some of it's like mainstream, some of it's like stuff you haven't
like independent.
yeah, like I
production
guess like
companies.
last week it was a movie called Skincare, which I hadn't heard of.
Ooh,
Okay.
But I want to start maybe trying to catch their. So it's like a surprise movie. You don't know what you're going to see.
That's kind of fun.
Nice.
So I
like
wanna-
movie roulette.
Yeah,
That's cool.
It is essentially.
Yeah.
It's like a wheel. It's
Oh,
like a wheel
they
of
got
death.
their AMC's got their own wheel.
Yeah.
Subjecting people to.
So I kind of want to start doing that.
No, that's cool. Just a big question mark for the poster for the
You
movie.
just have no idea.
Nice. Okay. You guys ready to get into Event Horizon?
Yep.
Ready?
All right. So, first segment is Dig Up the Bones. In this, I just introduce the movie we watch and give a brief summary. So, Event Horizon is a science fiction horror film released on August 15th, 1997. Director was Paul W.S. Anderson. Other credits include Mortal Kombat, Death Race, and most of the Resident Evil movies. Writer was Philip Eisner. Other credits include Mutant Chronicles, Sweet Girl, and A Firestarter Rekindled, the TV miniseries. Music, Michael Kamen. Other credits include Roadhouse, X-Men, and the epic space vampire flick Life Force.
Nice.
Have you seen Life Force?
Yeah, a long time ago.
It's a pretty horny movie, actually.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's a fun time. I just watched it a couple months ago. All right, cinematography was Adrian Biddle. Other credits include Aliens, The Mummy, the Brendan Fraser Mummy, and V for Vendetta. Production design, Joseph Bennett. Other credits include Deep Blue Sea and the TV series Rome. Special effects were done by Cinestate and Computer Film Company. Production company was Paramount Pictures, Galore Productions, and Impact Pictures. Distributed by Paramount Pictures in the United States and United International Pictures internationally. So, sequels, prequels, there were none, but there was a discussion of expanding the story between Paul Anderson and Jeremy Bolt back in 2011. But as of 2020, Anderson was asked, and he stated he had not returned to the property in any continuation because he did not want to take away from the experience of the original film. So nothing from Anderson. But in 2019, there was a TV series in development by Paramount Pictures and Amazon Studios. It was to be directed by Adam Wingard, but nothing has progressed yet. And as of March 2024, Wingard stated, "It's definitely in the works. I've just been in Godzilla land for so long. I wouldn't say there's a definitive traction in terms of it moving forward, but we have a fucking amazing script." Budget, $60 million. Box office, $42 million. Took a hit. Took a hit at the box office. Rotten Tomatoes gives it a 35% on the tomato meter, and then a 61% on the audience score. That makes more sense on the audience score. Starring Lawrence Fishburne as Miller. His other credits include The Matrix, Nightmare on Elm Street 3, Dream Warriors, and most importantly as Cowboy Curtis on Pee-wee's Playhouse. Sam Neill as Weir. Other credits include Final Conflict, the last chapter in the Omen trilogy, Possession, and a little-known prequel to Tammy and the T-Rex, Jurassic Park.
Yep. Good old
That is
Sam.
not a prequel to that movie. Shut your
It
face.
is if you want it to be.
How do you leave out, what is that, Mouth of Madness?
Oh, Mouth of Madness
Yeah, he's
for Sam.
directed.
That's another one. I just
Yeah.
picked three random
Yeah,
ones.
no.
completely random. Next is Kathleen Quaylen as Peters. Other credits include American Graffiti, The Doors, and The Hills Have Eyes remake in 2006. Jolie Richardson as Stark. Other credits include Color Out of Space, 101 Dalmatians, and a TV series, Nip Tuck. Richard T. Jones as Cooper. Other credits include Vantage Point, Phone Booth, American Horror Stories Hotel series. I think that was like 2015, 16, something like that.
Yeah, he's pretty well.
That was when I was still into American Horror Story.
Yep.
I don't know if it's still. Are they still doing American Horror Stories?
I think so. I haven't watched it in a while.
Yeah,
so.
it's been a hot minute. Next, we have Jason Isaac as DJ. His other credits include Fury, The Patriot, and a bunch of Harry Potter films. He plays a prominent character in them. I don't know that world.
His face is very
familiar.
Yeah.
Yeah. Lastly, we have Sean Pertwee as Smith. His other credits include Dog Soldiers, The Seasoning House, and Gotham TV series.
I love
Dog Soldiers.
That's one of my favorite werewolf movies ever. Great movie.
I got to be honest, I didn't know about it. And when I was doing this research, I clicked on it. I was like, what is Dog Soldiers? And I was like, oh, this looks awesome.
Oh, dude, that's one of my favorite werewolf movies ever.
I'll be checking that out soon. Yeah. So, all right, Event Horizon. In the year 2047, a crew is dispatched aboard the Lewis and Clark to locate and salvage the Event Horizon, which has been lost for 7 years. Dr. Weir, the designer of the Event Horizon, is accompanying Captain Miller and his team, but the vessel starts showing signs of being more than just a haunted house sitting outside of Neptune. With visions of past trauma and the distrust of Dr. Weir growing, they find that this journey is full of infinite space and infinite terror. So that is Event Horizon. Initial reactions to landing on it. Shelley, it was your choice to go in the bag and then ended up on the wheel. So you bought the shirt. You have a history. Tell us about it.
I'm a fan. Yeah, I mean, it's one of the first horror movies I saw in the theaters. So, it's nostalgic for me. And I think it's just a solid sci-fi horror.
Yeah.
So, I was really excited, especially since it was your first watch.
Yes.
Yeah.
I got to be honest, I was not aware of this movie at all until when we did our first season and we had the conversation asking what was the scariest movie, and you talked about Event Horizon, and that was the first time it came on my radar, and I was like, I'm not a big sci-fi person anyways, so when you brought it to the wheel, I was super excited because we've been going through some pretty good sci-fi horror films, especially Aliens this season, so I was excited to check it out and get another sci-fi horror film under my belt. Jason, I hit you up to join us, and you're like, "Oh yeah, I love that movie." So, what's your history with Event Horizon?
Like Shelley, I saw it, in the cinema when it first came out. When I first saw it, I loved it. It was like that fine line between sci-fi and horror. They just were very psychological.
Yeah.
Rather than smacking you in the face with monsters and stuff, they leave it to your own imagination. So if your brain is like already messy, like mine is, it was even scarier, So, I loved Event Horizon. Of course, Sam Neill, Australian actor. So
I didn't know Sam Neill was Australian.
Well, technically, I think he was born in New Zealand, but he moved to Australia and is considered Australian.
Okay, I just thought he was British, so that's my fault. That's my fault. That's awesome. Well, I'm glad that there was a connection there I didn't even think of. So. Good on me. Right?
You did great. You meant to do it.
That's why I thought you had me come in for this movie.
I'm patting myself on the back. I did a good job. All right, so guys, let's get into it. Our next segment is called Feasting Fiends. In this, we discuss the topics of overall pros, overall cons of the movies, characters, dialogue, and our favorite kills/scares. So, Jason, with you being our esteemed guest, will you please kick it off with your pros?
Like I said, I think when it first came out, it was the first movie that I had seen at that point in my life. I think I was around 18 maybe, where I hadn't really seen horror like that, like psychological horror in a sci-fi, package. I was used to all the slashes or Alien, where you actually see the aliens the whole time.
Alien is essentially just a slasher in outer space anyways, with a xenomorph. So, this was something different.
Yeah, so for me, that really caught my attention, and that kind of cemented it in my brain as, oh, wow, this is like an awesome sci-fi. The way they went about it, it has a really slow build-up. They don't just, start murdering everyone on the ship or anything like that.
Yeah.
So I appreciated it, The sets were really well done.
Oh, yeah.
For that time period.
Joseph Bennett, I think, was production design.
Yeah, the ship is amazing.
Yes,
Yeah.
that was. I think we're all saying pros right here.
You know, it holds up to today.
Like the gravity portal.
Really
it
looked awesome.
So cool, and the way that it also like mechanically moved, it was
Yeah.
like hypnotizing. It was so cool.
Yeah, so I really appreciated all the effort they put into that movie. Sam Neill's a great actor too. He really did a good job playing William Weir.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Shelley, what about you?
Overall, I think the story is original. It's great. I like that they dove into what would happen if you used a black hole. Because we always hear about black holes. They are in movies, but they were like, what if we channeled the power of a black hole and what would happen? And I think they went a route that maybe not everybody expected, because Weir was like, you're just going to travel through space and it's faster. But, they traveled to like hell instead.
Like
so,
a weird hell dimension.
exactly. So I do love the concept. And especially for like 97, I think they were doing things that were a little like, especially with some of the footage that they show and like
like the log footage. They
yeah,
found.
that's
flashbacks.
Yeah, another one of my pros is like the recordings and the sound. Not maybe the soundtrack per se, but the sound in itself, because that's what really makes it terrifying, hearing the people's screams and seeing that footage of what this crew went through when they did channel the power of the black hole and use it. And then lastly, obviously, it's an all-star cast. Really, I don't think as an ensemble, they all played so well off of each other. You felt that they were family. They had this camaraderie. They really cared for each other. And I think that helped make you feel more for these people that are now, basically getting owned by the ship. So, but those are my pros.
Awesome. I'll piggyback a little bit, but the performances were great. Like specifically Sam Neill and Lawrence Fishburne. Sam Neill is just like the consummate fantastic doctor guy. He sounds so smart when he's delivering lines. Like you totally believe him as a doctor. He's that in Jurassic Park, and then he was this again in Event Horizon. But also we got an evil side to him as well, and I thought his performance in that was like, it was subtle. It wasn't like over the top, but it was enough where it was like, oh, like I believe this guy's being possessed, and this is a side of that. So awesome performance by him. And then Lawrence Fishburne, any kind of like mentor or like authority figure, like he's perfect. Like he's Morpheus. Like in pop culture, he is Morpheus. So like I think the casting, especially those two, like everyone else was great too, but those two I had to highlight. And then we talked about the Gravity Room, so I won't go through that again. But a while back we watched The Haunting, which was a haunted house movie. This is essentially a haunted house in space, but the way that the ship was functioning was a lot like the house in The Haunting, the Hill House, where it was manipulating these people and causing hallucinations, even to the point where there were like bangs, and then doors were like bulging in. Like we had the same stuff in this, and I saw a lot of parallels between the two, and that was the stuff that I loved in The Haunting, and I got it again, but this time in space with Weir and Peters and Miller, where they had like these past like traumas. And it used them as ways to like trap them. Like I think Weir, his wife's death was the tipping point, and then Peters, her son, I think he had like an accident or something. And then with Miller, the ex-bosun, who obviously caught on fire and he couldn't help. So I liked how it used these sad memories and maybe like their guilty conscience a little bit against them to like trap them into this vessel. So all of that was fantastic and made this film definitely stand out, and it was enjoyable. So those are my pros. Jason.
Yep.
You ready for cons?
Yep. I think from the negative point of view, obviously compared to CGI now, back then they were going real heavy on the 3D models.
Yes.
And like the Terminator 2, like jelly, like when
there was a bunch
floating.
of that goo.
And it just looking at it now looks a little cheesy.
Oh yeah,
not the best. But I don't want to hammer down too hard. That was 1997. But yeah, they definitely really dipped into the 3D models, and it's very obvious now to me.
Yeah, it sticks out like a sore thumb.
Takes away a little bit of the eeriness that I felt when I first watched it. But like I said, this is more of an age thing than probably top of the line back then.
I mean, they had those two companies come in and do the digital work, so
exactly.
They put money into this movie for
Absolutely,
that. Yeah.
I think there's a few plot holes in there that they probably could have brought along a little further, like Dr. Weir's wife. Some of those traumas, as you say, they could have probably dug a little deeper into some of those to kind of make them a little more emotionally appealing, to really bring the audience into a little more, maybe showing some interactions like flashbacks might have helped.
Yeah.
But, I get it. They can only try to fit everything in like a 2 hour. I think it's a little over 2 hours.
No,
hour
it was
and a half.
It was hour.
Yeah, so
30.
maybe. You're right.
Originally, it was going to be like a 2 hour.
So I think maybe
movie,
they probably should have gone to 2 hours.
That's one of my loose ends because there's a lot about the post production of this film that I think dealt with maybe a lot of cons that we might have.
Yeah. So I feel like they rushed through the story a little bit. Rewatching it, all these years later, I can definitely see, I wish they did, dug more into the past of the crew members, and that way would have really hit harder when they showed the traumas and the son that had in hospital and the wife killing herself and his old crew member that got the fire all over him. They should, maybe if they showed some of that, it might have helped. I don't know.
I think that's more than fair. Shelley, what about you? Cons?
I mean, I think Jason is reading my notes. Because my first con was the special effects. Yeah. I saw this when I must have been in middle school because I saw it in theaters. It came out in 97. I definitely was in middle school, and it was terrifying. It was horrific. The things you saw, and I guess it's been so long since I've seen it. I was watching it last night, and I was like, oh my God, that's what was so scary. I mean, his eyes looked like Play-Doh. The green screen eyes. I remember the way I recall it was that he just had bloody, gory, no eyes. But then when watching it last night, I was like, that wasn't the case. He never had that. They kind of green screened these like portal looking eye
3D
things onto. It was stupid. Like, why not use practical effects for such a close up shot like that? So because I was like, look at his eyes, Sherry, and she wasn't paying attention. So we watched it, and then I went back. I'm like, look, you have to see it. Like, am I seeing things? Is this as horrible as I think? And even like when Justin comes out of the airlock. That whole thing was very like green screen, not realistic looking. I was like, what? How is this so terrifying back in the day?
I think a lot of it's a fidelity now. Like in high def back then, you had that slight blur of everything.
It was almost like it was too clean.
You know
what I mean?
That's
like,
my point.
So it did have like a smoothness look to it, like which makes it fake because there's texture to things and all that. So obviously we're at that point now where we understand it, but at the time it was like glossy.
Yeah, it wasn't a little fuzzy.
Yeah, and I even said maybe a little more backstory. I agree. Like, we get it. Weir's wife killed herself, but like, why? How do we get there? They left it up to your imagination. I maybe would have liked to know what caused her to get there. Was it Weir's work with this black hole? Is it related? Is it not? Who knows? And my last one was just wanting more from the franchise. The way they kind of wrapped it up, I feel like they could have kept going like the Alien franchise. But they didn't. Obviously they tried, but I would have loved to seen what happened next with this because the power's still out there. The technology that Weir created was still alive. We're still out there. We don't know where he is.
And I guess they're still going to do that series from Paramount and Amazon. So Adam Wingard, he said the script is fucking awesome. So something's out there, and I'm interested to see what happens with it because I think this movie did set up this almost like Star Wars-esque universe with this dimension to this hellish place and like how it's affecting these things. And
take us to that place.
Yeah, I'm all about it. And that was the thing too. Like one of my cons was more of the blood orgy / massacre scenes.
What they showed in that video.
Yeah, like I know we got like quick little flashes of it. I want to see that scene. Don't just give me 10 seconds.
Like the arm coming out of the guy's mouth. Why is there an arm coming out?
I know. And I want to see all that. Like I think it was Peters who was scrubbing the film and trying to clean it up. So she found what I think is the blood orgy and all that craziness going on. But even there was another scene at the end where I think Weir was showing Miller what hell looked like. And it looked like Hellraiser. Like people were like chained up. There was like half bodies hanging on things. I was like, I want to see that stuff. Like, don't give me quick flashes. Take me there.
They definitely... I feel like that scene was definitely an homage to Hellraiser.
Oh, yeah.
Even the lines, you'll see, we have such things for you to see.
Oh, I know. That was
like straight out of Hellraiser. It's like...
Literally.
Yeah, exactly. So we already talked about the CGI. Another thing was, and I get this isn't like an alien movie and it's not a creature movie, but I still feel like it would have been nice to have like an alien creature like come out of the portal and like attack. I wish there was a monster that they had to interact with. It doesn't have to be the bad guy because the ship itself is the thing that's possessed and it's the bad guy. So I get that, but I would have liked to seen some sort of monster coming at him.
the ship was the monster, though.
Yeah.
I like that there was lack thereof.
Yeah, I was going to say I'm probably not with you on that, because the thing that for me that made it so scary watching it the first time is that they don't give you a visual representation of this, like, whatever the being is, and you don't know if it is actual hell, in the religious sense, or if it's like just an area of, the alternate universe that they went to that is worse than hell,
Yeah.
And that's what made it scary.
And that's to the point, like, man, we could have gotten much more with this, with that, like, dimensional stuff. So, yeah.
Are the crew actually the monsters because they get mentally fucked by whatever this technology is doing with the black hole, and they're the ones, maybe they're just doing it to each other.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Blood orgy for life. I don't know.
I want to see some face huggers.
BO4L.
BO4L. The only other thing, and this is more of like a personal problem, but the beginning scene, I think it was the daylight station where Weir was living. There was a shot where it was like just spinning, and I think it was over Earth or whatever. Mm-hmm. So it triggered a terrible memory for me of riding Mission Space, the Mars mission, which is the more intense one. That scene made me dizzy, but I've been broken ever since I've ridden that ride. When I was watching that scene, it brought me back to that moment, which was almost extremely embarrassing for me, sitting and riding that with my mother-in-law. Yeah, just that scene was very dizzying, and I was like, it's taking me back to a very dark place.
We can get you help.
Thank you. Let's move on into characters. Jason, what do you got for characters?
I mean, obviously Dr. Weir is awesome.
Yeah.
Sam Neill played that to perfection, in my opinion.
I agree.
Even when he was evil, he still, had that calm way about him. He wasn't all like growly all of a sudden, or his voice changing to like deep demon.
Yeah.
Still Dr. Weir, but with the hell in him or whatever.
For sure.
I think I was telling you that Sean Pertwee, I think. Yeah, I'm a big fan of him as an actor in general.
So it was good to see.
Yeah, he was played well as the captain.
Mm-hmm.
Not the captain, he drove the
Smith.
Pilot.
He was a pilot.
Yeah,
Smith.
pilot, that's it.
Yeah.
Smitty.
He was the one that I believe was blown up. He tried to disarm the bomb, and he was blown up in the...
Well, he just found the bomb, and it counted
like
down. It was he had no time.
He was like, "Oh, just put my head down."
But I like he was like, "I just fixed this ship. Why would he blow it up?" Well, because Weir went crazy, dude. Stop questioning.
Just listen to Miller. Come on.
Yeah. Just get off the ship.
Awesome. Shelly, did you have anything on characters?
Yeah, I actually went a different route. I really loved Peters, Cooper, and Justin. They kind of had this like bond. They call each other like Mama Bear and Baby Bear. And
I would have liked more of that.
Yeah.
Because there were a couple moments, but like I would have liked moments with them to build on that.
But I think they did it enough that when he was in the airlock and he was kind of like possessed, or his mind, he wasn't there.
Yeah.
And he was saying the things he was saying, like, if you've seen the things I've seen, you would understand why I'm doing this. And I've yet to figure out that, like, once he clicked out of it, was he actually coherent when he actually, like, the door was about to open? He was like, what's happening? Why am I in here?
Yeah.
Or was it the ship, like, trying to toy with them to get them to, like, open the door? I don't know. I can't tell if he was genuinely coherent towards the end there, or if it was, like, still the ship fucking with everybody to, like, make them mentally get fucked over their friend. Granted, they found him, or they saved him.
Yeah.
Somehow.
They pulled him out, yeah.
And he made it, well, spoiler alert, he made it to the end. Like, and he was still floating in the liquid.
He was one of the survivors somehow.
Yeah.
But that's a great point, because he had more of an interaction with the negative side of the ship than anyone else. So who knows how much the ship was controlling him in that moment, and if it was just a ploy on the ship's part. So that's a great point. I did not think of that until right now, and that makes total sense.
Yeah. So I did like that they kind of built this relationship between the three of them, where they all called him Baby Bear, and he called the one girl Mama Bear. And, where that scene kind of like tore at you. You're like, oh no, now he's like, doesn't want to be in the airlock, doesn't want to open the door. His face starts to bleed out. And I was just, which is actually my favorite kill/scare. But anyways, yeah, and I had no cons. I thought as an ensemble unit, everybody had their strong points. I like the comedic relief thrown in there, kind of like
from Cooper.
Yeah,
okay.
So I love when there's just like one. They do it in that one movie where they're like underwater and there's a shark, and it's LL Cool J. I mean, maybe.
Oh shit.
He's the chef.
Yes.
And he's hilarious, but at the same time, you're terrified because the shark's like killing everybody. I can't. not Deep Impact. It's something like that.
Deep Blue Sea?
Maybe. You might be right. Anyways, thus I digress. But I like where there's one character that has this comedic relief, and they always kind of make it to the end. Because I feel like if I'm ever in a horror movie, that would be me. Like, I'm like the comedic person, and maybe I have a fighting chance because I'm funny. They need to keep me in there.
That's right. We need the comedic relief to break up the terrors that is
the blood orgies.
The blood orgies and the massacres, So for me, it's funny. My character I didn't like was Cooper just because of the comedic stuff. I thought it was corny. Like when he got blown away on the ship, I wish that he just went away and he didn't make it back.
I loved how he's like, why does this always happen to me? Why am I floating? Like I was like,
he was definitely a little over the top with the wisecracks. So I was like, okay.
It was just a character. I was like, oh man, I've had enough of this guy. But also, there were two characters that I kept confusing with one another, and that was DJ and Smith, just because they looked so much alike. They weren't one of the people who had any kind of like past terrible history being used against them. So, like, for me, they kind of meshed together. And a lot of times I was like, wait, which one's Smith and which one's DJ? And
DJ's clearly Lucius Malfoy.
Lucius Malfoy is the guy from Harry Potter.
Harry Potter, yeah.
Thank you. Yes.
Yeah,
so, I mean, that's how you tell them apart. Well, one's Lucius Malfoy, one's not.
I've watched the first Harry Potter. I haven't watched the other ones. So.
I know. And I literally just called your wife. It was like, let's watch a Harry Potter movie and go to dinner next week because I want Ian to watch all of them.
Yeah.
And she's like, he wasn't really into the first one. I'm like, gosh, darn. Ian, I know you're listening. You may be asleep.
He's definitely asleep. You've been talking for a bit. He's sleeping. Just to let you know, Ian listens to this podcast when he goes to bed at night, and it'll be like 12 o'clock, and I'll wake up, and Shelly's talking, and Ian's passed out, and I'm like, turn off podcast.
So now I'll call them in the car, and they'll put me on like Bluetooth, and Ian will be in the back seat, and before you know it, Ian's like, and I'm like, I just have such a soothing voice.
Yeah. You're his white noise.
But anyways, Ian, I'm going to need you to like Harry Potter. So we'll talk.
We will. Other than that, obviously, Jason, you already talked about Weir. I love the puzzle of him because I wasn't sure if he was like complicit in this act or if he was a tool being used by the vessel.
I somewhat think, sorry to interrupt.
No.
Tell me if you think I'm way off. I think he knew exactly what he was doing by going there and that it was going to be like that.
Yeah,
I felt like he was hiding something the whole time.
Yeah, I feel like he wanted to go back.
Oh, yeah.
Because he wanted to see his wife again.
Yeah.
And that was his, like...
That was his pathway to her?
The gate.
The gateway.
Yeah.
Okay.
The whole reason they called that group together, that team, to go back there is because Weir knew shit went down, and he's, like, hoping that it worked so that he can be with his wife again.
Yeah.
So I was very much on that path, and the only reason I'm like, I questioned it a little bit more was towards the end when Peters fell down the shaft and was dead next to the gravity portal. He showed real concern. He was like, oh, no. Obviously, with him being the designer of the ship, the builder of the ship, he had a connection with it. So I didn't know if that connection was just stronger and he was like the strongest tool for it to use, or if he was complicit. Even when they were going on the ship, he was arguing with Miller like, no, I need to be on the ship. So to your guys' point about him being complicit, yeah, you could point to that. So I really enjoyed that about his character. I enjoyed that. I was like, it was a tug of war within me and I didn't know how to take him. And then in the end, it's still like, it's kind of open. Like, obviously we know what happened to him in the end, but I was like, I don't know how he was used, but I enjoyed it. Yeah. So yeah. All right, guys, ready to move on to dialogue? All right, Jason.
Oh, I mean, I like good one-liners in there.
Yeah.
You know, from the Hellraiser
the Hellraiser ripoff.
Now that was man. I gotta let me get my notes.
Yeah, get your notes. You're good.
I don't want to misquote.
Go ahead.
I can go ahead and do mine while you pull this up.
Shelly, what do you got
for
for dialogue?
We'll probably have the same ones anyway.
Yeah, exactly. He's been reading your notes.
Stop copying. No, I'm just kidding. It's just because we're on the same page.
Yeah.
So mine's an exchange between Miller and Weir, which they had a couple of really good exchanges. And this is when Weir had finally been taken over by the ship. He had no eyes.
Yes, I love this.
He was in like the bow of the ship, like ready to captain it. And Miller finds him. And Miller goes, "Oh my God, what happened to your eyes?" And Dr. Weir goes, "Where we're going, we won't need eyes to see." Miller goes, "What are you talking about?" And Weir goes, "I created the event horizon to reach the stars, but she's gone much, much further than that. She tore a hole in our universe, a gateway to another dimension, a dimension of pure chaos, pure evil. When she crossed over, she was just a ship, but when she came back, She was alive. Look at her, Miller. Isn't she beautiful? And then Miller goes, your beautiful ship killed its crew, Doctor. And Weir goes, well, now she has another crew. Now she has us.
If I was to sum this movie up in a monologue, it would be that.
Yeah.
Like, I love that too. I actually have that down as well. There were a couple little monologues that like kind of were painting this backstory of maybe what was going on, but that was obviously what was going on. You know, it was coming from Weir's mouth. Jason, do you have any words that were spoken that you want to regurgitate for us?
I really enjoyed the part where he was describing the flames, you know, engulfing his.
When Miller was talking about the bosun.
Yeah, and like the way they described that was, well written.
Yeah. It was like the flames were like liquid and they were like dancing over top of him.
Over his body.
And it looked beautiful, but obviously it's this destructive thing that is tearing this guy apart. And you know, he has these visions of him. Another great performance and moment from Larry Fishburne.
I enjoyed the part when he was talking about the word hell, how that really doesn't, it's just a word. It has no real meaning. But when he says the reality is much, much worse, because that really gets your brain going. You're like, oh, damn.
And we got those little snips and we're like, oh, Jesus.
Yeah.
And much, much worse than Hellraiser times 10, perhaps.
Exactly.
The only thing I have other than the weird little monologue is I did enjoy the Latin that I believe it was DJ was deciphering.
Yep.
I'm going to attempt to do the Latin and then I'll translate it.
I'm so excited.
Are you? Okay. Liberate tutu me ex inferis, which is save yourself from hell. And at first he misquoted it and he was saying liberate me, which was save me. But then as he was digging in, it was like, oh no, this is not a call for help. It's
a warning.
It's very much a warning instead of come save me.
Yeah.
If I had to throw one more thing in there, it's what Justin says while he's in the airlock.
Another
I love
great
that
moment
whole
too. Yes,
exchange.
the dark.
Yeah. He goes on a little bit about different things, but
that was good too. All right, I think that takes us through dialogue. Let's get to the fun part. Favorite kills or scares? Jason, you got any scares or kills you want to talk about?
I mean, obviously, when I first watched it, when I was, was that 18? 20? No, wait, yeah, I was 21. Yeah, the first part, I remember, I mean, it's not scary to me now, but when I'm just going to be my 20-year-old self again, when you see the flashback with the doctor and his wife, and her eyes are closed, and then he's dreaming, and her eyes suddenly come open, you get that jump scare from that. Back then, that definitely gave me a little jump. Mm-hmm. The favorite kill, it's probably, what's his name?
Was it DJ?
The one that get hooked up on.
Hooked up? Yeah.
Yeah.
He like dissected him and like.
Yeah, it's hard to outdo that one though.
I know.
It's like the most elaborate one in the whole movie. So.
Very gnarly.
Yeah.
Shelly, what do you got?
I have the whole airlock scene. I obviously like that scene, but it was a little terrifying too, because like when he starts to slowly like his veins pop out in his eyes, and just that like suspense, is Miller gonna get there in time to save this guy? So I do like that whole. I guess that's more of a thrill, but I don't know, not really scary, but I did like that whole scene. If I were to pick a death, goodness. Smitty's was fun. He blew up.
Yeah.
So.
It was a tense moment.
Yeah.
He saw the end coming.
And you had a little love for Smitty because he was the one that was like, I'm not taking any bullshit. I'm fixing the ship and we're getting the fucking out of here.
Yeah.
So you're kind of like, man, this dude is like, let's stay with this guy because like he's like, the ship sucks.
From the beginning.
Yeah.
He never
like,
trusted it. He didn't want to
go on that ship. Yeah. He's like, I'll fix the Lois and Clark, which I love the name of the ship too. But if I had to pick another kill, that would be it.
I had two. The one was Peter's, when she first went on the vessel, there was that frozen corpse that like jump scared her.
Smashes.
It was a great jump scare and it looked really good. The practical effects they did on that dummy looked awesome. What she said afterwards had me cracking up, and she called it a corpse sickle. So I love that. But then also, I guess it was already dead, but I'll call it a kill just because I liked when they turned the gravity on and the frozen corpse fell and then it just shattered into like 1,000 pieces. I really enjoyed that part. So, as part of that jump scare, that was really cool. And then the next jump scare I want to talk about is when Miller was in the medical room and he was looking for survivors. And he said, this place is a tomb. And just then a frozen hand bops him on his helmet. And you're just like, oh shit. And it does like that classic like bing thing where you get the sound with it. But I thought it was cool. He said this place is a tomb. This hand hits him, and then he doesn't say anything about the hand. He's just like, oh, that didn't happen, and he just moves on. So, but yeah, those were some, I guess, jump scares that I liked a lot in this movie.
Yeah.
So let's move on into Final Cut. And in this, I talk about the end of the film, and we discuss and give our ratings of 1 to 5 stabs. 1 stab is no redeeming value. 2 stabs is bad. 3 stabs, mediocre. 4 stabs, good. 5 stabs, masterpiece.
Okay.
You impressed?
Yeah, I am impressed.
Good. After the footage of the massacre of the previous crew, Captain Miller orders everyone off the ship and back to the Lewis and Clark, and Weir objects, saying that the ship won't let them. But Miller's crew falls right in line. Peters and Smitty head to collect 25 CO2 scrubbers for the ride home, but Peters is distracted by visions of her son and falls to her death. Dr. Weir finds her body next to the gravity drive and has a sudden hallucination of his wife Claire's death while she tells him she has such beautiful things to show him, as he then gouges out his own eyes. Smitty then sees Weir heading off to the Lewis and Clark and notifies Miller of his movement. Miller quickly noticed that a detonator is gone from the corridor and orders Smith to vacate the Lewis and Clark. Smith attempts to locate and disarm the detonator, but it's too late and he dies in the explosion. This explosion also propels Cooper into space on a piece of the Lewis and Clark that he was repairing. He manages to disengage from the particle and shoots himself back to the event horizon by blowing his air tank. Back at the ship, DJ is attacked, dissected, and hung by the ceiling by eyeless Dr. Weir, and Captain Miller finds the grotesque scene and grabs a space gun to hunt down the doctor. He eventually finds him just as Weir starts to initiate the gravity drive to return to the hellish dimension. Just then, Stark attempts to attack him, but is easily foiled while Cooper comes bumping into the exterior window to the bridge. Weir attempts to shoot him with a harpoon-type gun, but smashes the window, causing him to be sucked out into space. Miller grabs a cable and pulls him and Stark into a corridor while shutting the door to the bridge. In the airlock, they find Cooper and devise a plan to blow up the corridor and use the foredeck as a lifeboat and escape. With Cooper and Stark orders given, they separate as the ship fills with blood. Captain Miller, who is off setting up the detonators in the corridor, has a hallucination of his own Bosun Edwards, Korik, and retreats to the gravity room. It's here where his hallucination of Korik turns into a mutilated Dr. Weir, who attacks him. Miller is able to hold off long enough to trigger the explosive, sacrificing himself. A black hole emerges and swallows the ship while Stark and Cooper look on from a separated foredeck. 72 days later, Cooper, Stark, and Justin are found by a rescue crew. Stark hallucinates that Weir is one of the rescuers when she is awoken, but is shook back to reality by Cooper and the rest of the rescue team as the door closes and Prodigy plays us off to a hypersleep. The end. What'd you guys think of the ending?
Yeah, I mean, they did a pretty good job of wrapping it up, but, you know, as Shelley said, it kind of made you want to see what happens next. You know, you got Justin, who, you know, has the hell inside of him, you know, survived.
DJ said he wasn't pretty, but he was going to survive. So obviously mutilated and bursting eyes, I imagine.
Yeah. So they're taking him back, you know, to Earth or whichever station they're on. So you're like, well, what's going to happen when they take him out? Is he still going to have the being inside him, or is he going to be normal? Or
you could do a whole movie on Justin post this movie.
Exactly.
So, Shelley, how'd you feel about the end?
Yeah, I liked it. I did like that not everybody died. Sometimes when you like kill everyone off, it's like, oh, no one made it. That sucks.
Yeah.
Like you want to root for the good guy for a little bit. So I did like that they had some survivors. But again, I mean, they had this whole rescue crew, and then like they're just gonna take them off, and that's that. Like they were on the ship still, so it's like
it was still part of the event horizon.
Yeah,
which
so
is
like
affected. Which is
so why they were able to get on that ship and just like take those guys off and be like, have a great day. Like nothing else happened.
Yeah, you know, it made total sense that Stark had that hallucination because she was still on a ship. It's even though it's a portion and it's separated, it was in the dimension, the hell dimension, whatever it was. So it's still affected. So her to have that flashback, I was like, well, that makes sense. And then it kind of made me want more. I was like, okay, so where do we go from here? And I guess we'll see what Adam Wingard does whenever that comes out. But
someday.
Did anybody else notice at that scene where Stark was on the floor and Cooper was trying to like comfort her? He was groping the shit out of her chest. He was really heavy in there. I was like, I was like, are you okay, Jolene Anderson? Is there any issues? Did you file a complaint? I'm just curious.
I feel like
back then I don't think there was as much as a problem.
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys picked up on this, but I feel like that end scene was a homage as well to, at the end of Carrie when Sue's crying and
they're
the mom's like,
cuddling each other.
Oh, okay.
And the camera slowly zooms out. And it's like almost identical to that.
I wonder. I didn't. Yeah. So I was looking at interesting facts today, and I didn't see any of that. But
well, this is my own inference.
No, but I like that.
Jason created it.
I love your theory. I like it. It tracks. It makes sense. So cool. All right, are you guys ready to stab it?
I'm ready.
Yep. What do you got, Jason?
I'd give it 4 stabs.
4 stabs?
Yep.
Nice.
I enjoyed it. When it first came out, it was instantly like awesome to me. Like I loved everything about it.
Yeah.
Obviously, 20 years later, it's still pretty good, but I'll still give it 4 stars.
Nice.
Stabs.
Stabby stabs.
Stab stars.
Stabby stabs. What about you, Shelly?
I'm going to give it 4.5. I'm going to knock it down just a little bit because the special effects did not age well.
Yeah.
Were they maybe great for the time? Yeah, no. I feel like maybe things were doing a little bit better back in the day even. Mm-hmm. I don't know. Some of the movies, like when Alien came out, but like they were more practical effects, which then has I think they could have done more practical effects to really impact it better, but they really leaned into like green screen type of things, which I think maybe then was all they felt like they could do. But anyways, so I'm going to knock it down a little bit for that, but all in all, still a great, solid sci-fi movie.
Awesome. Yeah, so I land ultimately on 4 stabs. I know there's shortcomings, there's a rushness to it, but also, and we'll get into it in the loose ends, there's a reason for that. I feel like Anderson's original vision for this, probably pretty spectacular, but it was ruined a little bit. But on the first time watch, it was totally enjoyable. And I think, what are your initial reactions to something that first time watch? And when it's a movie that I don't have any history with, how did I feel? And I was entertained. I loved the grotesque flashes, that haunted house in outer space, great idea. So yeah, I landed on 4 stabs.
Nice. Great movie.
All right, next up is Voices from Beyond. And this is where Shelly goes on social media and gets all your guys' comments and shares them. So take it away.
All right. So first up, we have Steve F. He said, just finished watching this again. Such a good film. It's weird, scary, and a really good sci-fi horror thriller version of Hellraiser. We have such sights to show you. I give this puppy a 4.5 stabs. Would love to see more of this franchise. Marcus F said, nah, nope, no thank you. And then put a laughing face emoji.
I wonder if that's because he thinks it's trash or because it's too scary.
Well, he said this movie was one I can't go back to. To me, it sets the bar as far as sci-fi terror.
Oh, okay.
So I think maybe you just scared him that bad.
Okay.
Ryan Yu said, old one, but I liked it. Seen a few times over the years. And then Ryan's going to see the new Alien movie.
Hooray.
And then Ray M said, great modern space horror at its finest. Something about interstellar travel, opening gateways, and bending space-time always creeped me out. Who knows where the event horizon went? All I know is that it brought back something evil and it knew what you feared. The most intense scene for me was when their ship was getting closer and closer to the event horizon and it pops up out of nowhere. 4.5 out of 5 for me. Fingers crossed that the next movie is Dashcam.
Oh, yes. Ray's movie. That's right. Guys, next up is Loose Ends. And this is where we bring any last thoughts that we didn't fit into any other segments or interesting facts. So before any of us speak, Jason, did you have anything you wanted to?
Yeah, there was one thing that I caught in the movie. It was very, very quick and obscure, but to an Australian, you would see it and you're like, what? Because obviously when I first watched it, I never would have caught this, but Dr. Weir's spacesuit, it's got a flag, and if you look at it, Australia went through a weird phase where they were thinking about, dumping the monarchy or the UK rule and becoming a republic back in the late 90s, 2000s, and they were talking about redesigning the flag, and there was a bunch of redesigns done, and if you look at the flag he's wearing, it's one of those where they have the Southern Cross, which stays from the original flag, but instead of the what do you call it, the UK's why's my brain gone blank?
The Union Jack?
Yeah, the Union Jack. Yeah. They replace it with the Aboriginal flag.
Oh, okay.
So I thought that was kind of cool because I was like, I only just noticed this. I was like, oh, what? I was like, that's one of the flags they were trying to, or not trying to change it to that, but that was an option. Yeah. They never changed it, obviously, but yeah, it's funny to see that.
Very sharp catch.
Yeah,
Jason.
Well, I caught it because I was like, okay, that's that's something I never saw the first time I watched it.
So I'm curious. You watched this obviously back in the day. How long since watching it for this has it been since you've seen it?
I've watched it this would have been about my 5th time watching it.
Okay.
But it's been at least 10 longer since I've seen it. So,
okay. Yeah. Nice. Well, I'm glad you joined us today.
Yeah, I appreciate it.
So Paul Anderson's initial cut of the film, and this is where you guys will get a little bit of the background on why it might feel rushed. The cut of the film ran 130 minutes and was so violent that both the test audience and the studio balked at the finished product. Paramount ordered him to cut the film by 30 minutes and tone down some of the violence. Anderson said and believes he cut about 10 minutes too much. And although it was announced in 2012 that producer Lloyd Levin had found a VHS tape that might contain a full version of the film, Anderson revealed in 2017 that neither he nor Levin had seen it yet. So we're still waiting for that extra cut with all the stuff we want.
Director's cut.
Yeah, we're still waiting for that. So fingers crossed that they somehow find this VHS tape one day. I would love it.
Hey, we need it.
Yes.
That's me talking to them.
I love it. All right, and then also, although the film met with mostly negative reviews and a disappointed box office, director Paul Anderson said the movie's cult status was predicted to him years before by Kurt Russell. And Anderson screened Event Horizon before they started working on Soldier. And Russell said, forget about what this movie's doing now. In 15 years, this is going to be the movie you're glad you made. So Kurt Russell with a little foresight there.
He knows what he's talking about.
Yeah.
I was going to say,
I trust Kurt.
Being that me and Jason both saw it in the theaters, I'm surprised it didn't do well at the box office, but I want to say it was just 3 of us in the theater when I saw it. Like,
okay.
Nobody else. Like, it was me, my friend, and his dad. And
yes. And then, so Philip Eisner, the writer, he wrote the movie after a family tragedy, and he had recently entered a multi-picture writing agreement in an effort to force himself to get back to work. He pitched the idea of The Shining in space to the studio, which they were very receptive to. Unfortunately, he had no detailed treatment yet, and the subject matter blended with his emotional state, but the studio executives who had originally brought him on board, who was now a personal friend, helped keep Eisner on track. So Eisner is probably the reason we got those bouts of like the previous.
Yeah, but speaking of that, not knowing that this is the first time I've heard you say that. There is that one scene when I was watching it. I'm like, this is definitely homage to The Shining.
Oh,
where
yeah.
the blood comes out.
Oh, that's right, at the end?
Yeah.
Where it's just spilling out of nowhere?
Everywhere.
That's true,
I'm like, Shining.
Oh, that's hilarious.
Like right here.
That's a good point. All right, and then some of the lost footage included a great deal more of the hell sequence in a video log that was found on the Event Horizon, and these were shot by Paul Anderson and Vadim Jean, mainly on weekends. The video log took a month of preparation and about a week to film, and according to producer Jeremy Bolt, real-life amputees and porn stars were dressed in extensive makeup to make the sequences as grotesque as possible, figuring that if you're going to hell, you really got to do it. So you can't tap dance around it. And then actor Jason Isaac mentioned in a 2023 interview that the scenes were shot on the adjacent sound studio and included things that were definitely illegal to do now and probably illegal in the future. So I'm dying for that additional footage.
I want to see it now. I have to see it.
I know. And so that's some interesting facts I brought aboard. All right, that brings us to the end of our Event Horizon episode. And with that, it's time to get to the Wheel of Death. And with this, we have to replace Event Horizon on the wheel. And Jason is going to do us the honors.
Give it a little shake.
Yeah,
shake
it up.
Shake it up,
Jason.
Shake.
All right. I'm going to get in my app.
Hand is going into
the bag.
Entered.
Don't break eye contact.
Don't. That's how this works.
Right, we have a winner.
Oh, we got a winner. Jason,
all right.
What did you pick to replace Event Horizon?
Let's see, we have X.
Ooh, X.
Oh, which
Ty
I've not
West.
seen any of those.
Ty West.
They're
X.
great. Good movie.
That's a great.
That's technically the second one out of the 3, but the one that came out first.
Yes.
Right?
Yes, the first one.
All right.
I haven't seen any in the trilogy.
You can watch Pearl on its own. The only two that like go together.
Pearl's a pre.
Pearl's a prequel. But you can watch X and Maxine.
Yeah.
Just wait. I'm sure there will be a box set that comes out because you know how you love physical media.
I fucking hate physical media. I own none of it. Actually, I own 2 things.
Yes.
The Harry Potter box set, clearly,
we can
and a signed copy of Clockwork Orange, signed by
Oh,
Malcolm
nice.
McDowell.
You can't get rid of that.
Yeah.
No, you got to keep that.
That's an heirloom.
That I got for $20, cheap.
Where'd you get it for $20 at a garage sale?
At Spooky Empire when I worked with the man,
You bought the DVD for $20,
and then he signed
signed
it.
it.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay. I was like, you got a signed copy of a DVD for $20? I was like,
Blu-ray,
oh,
Fancy.
hey,
fancy.
2015's calling. All right, so let's list off the movies on the wheel. We have The Exorcist Believer, Saint Maud, Dashcam, The Wailing, Frozen, The Babadook, Children of the Corn, hey, The Shining, it's on our wheel, X, and Dead Snow. So let's save this. I'm saving you. You're saved.
We do a really corny chant. Jason, you're required by
Yes.
Yeah.
legal binding to chant with us.
All right.
I talk about Cooper being corny, but I'm pretty corny too. All right, you ready?
Ready?
Here we go.
Wheel of Death. Wheel of Death. Wheel of Death. Wheel of Death.
And what do we have? Frozen.
Oh, I'm really excited for this
Frozen.
one.
Is that one of your picks?
Yeah, it's one of
Wait
my.
a minute. Are we talking about Disney Frozen?
Let it go.
Let it go.
The guy who did Victor Crowley movies.
Yes. Adam Green
Adam Green.
Yep,
Adam
yep.
Green.
Yep.
and Holliston.
Yes. My sister-in-law was the one like 2 years ago. She's like, "Have you watched this movie? They're on a ski lift." And I'm like,
It's about people being trapped on a ski lift.
Okay.
I'm like, no, but I'm gonna hit my sister-in-law up and be like, "Hey,
The
give me a voice from beyond."
Yeah, yeah.
You
Or
got
make her come record with
the
us.
wailing on there. That one's
Yeah.
That's one of Derek's picks.
No, it's not.
Oh, it's not.
That's Tim from Horror Flicks and Guitar Picks.
Oh, okay,
that
never
one's,
mind. Sorry.
That one's hardcore.
Yeah, I've been winning. I think
I know.
this and the past two movies have been mine.
You want to know what's funny? So I was looking through the bag yesterday.
Sleepaway Camp, yeah, that's mine.
Yeah, I was looking through the
Lake
bag yesterday.
Mungo's mine.
A bunch of my movies are still left in there.
Thank God.
So we just got X, but then we also have Lisa's movie in there and Roger's movie in there, and then it's all my movies.
I know Roger really wants us
A
to pick them.
Deathgasm.
Yeah.
Have you seen Death? It's a New Zealand movie.
Yeah, I've seen that.
It's next door.
That one's pretty crazy.
Next
too.
door.
Yeah.
Adjacent.
Adjacent.
So I have good news about Frozen. It's on fucking Tubi.
Nice.
So
Oh, nice.
everyone should watch it.
Everyone can watch
It's
this
free.
one.
Or
Great.
if you have an Amazon Plus or Prime membership.
Okay,
But
great.
it's also on Plex, Freevee, and then you can rent it for $4. But why would you do that when
Yeah,
Tubi's
yeah.
free?
It's on Tubi. Just go watch it
Watch
on
a
Tubi.
few ads.
Yeah, whatever.
It's great.
You're fine. Be a grown up.
It'd be great.
Be a grown up. All right. With that, guys, our next episode drops September 4th. Don't miss out and tune into the end of the season where we will be taking all the films we have watched and have them battled out in our end of the season deathmatch tournament. If you listen on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, please hit the follow button and give us a rating and review if you like what we do. You can find us on Facebook and TikTok by searching Little Bracket of Horrors and on Instagram by typing @Little Bracket of Horrors. We also have merch available at tpublic.com. Just search for our name in their website search bar or pay attention to our socials for a direct link. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. I'm Derek,
I'm Shelly.
I'm Jason.
and we will catch you on the other side. We did it.
We did it.
We did it.
Good job.
Just at the...
This
at the,
red?
Yep.
The red circle.
Yeah.
Hello. Hello.
Check.
Check.
One check. That sounds
You're
better.
good. Yeah.
Yeah.
That better.
I'll
Am
fix
I
it.
too?
No,
low?
you sound good.
Okay.
I think whatever's not consistent, I'll fix in the recording
Yeah.
part. Not the recording, but the editing part.
Editing. We'll fix this. What do they say?
Fix this in post.
In post.
Yes, we'll fix it in post.
Fix it in post.
Oh yeah, I need my phone for when we do the.
Wheel
I
of
had
death.
yeah, and then my interesting facts. I didn't
Yeah.
have time to put them on my thing, so I copy and pasted them to my notes. Jason just pulled up. I got your text.
Whoopsie.
Jason is a professional guest on podcasts, apparently.
This is my sixth one, I think.
You can put it on your resume.
Yeah, your sweet,
Seventh.
your long, very long resume.
Co-host it. the world famous Little Bracket of Horror.
And then if you would like, at the end, we pull a movie out of our trick-or-treat bag.
Yep.
You can do the honors.
You get to pull out the movie.
Yeah, so it's right there, and you get to pick the movie that ends up on our wheel next.
Yeah. And before the days of podcasts, I did have my own radio show too.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Nice.
Music one.
That's cool. Was it in
original
Australia?
bands? Yeah. I used to have original local bands come on, and I'd interview them.
That's cool, dude.
Yeah.
You know what? I feel like you told me that. I just have a terrible memory, so most likely.
I forget myself. So.
Yeah. Good. I'm glad we're friends. We work perfectly together.
Oh, yeah. I did used to have a radio show, didn't I?
That's really cool about myself.
Do you know what to hit for the intro song?
No, you'll have to teach me.
All right. So it's just this up here.
Now do we have to listen to the whole thing?
Now we do, but yeah. I don't think it stops. I think it just restarts it.
Excellent. Love that for us.
You know, I was thinking maybe create something where we don't have to do that every episode. You know what I mean?
Well, couldn't you just edit something in?
Well, that's what I'm saying. I'll just have a talk. I'll just have a recording of like an intro.
Aren't you working with someone to make you a new wave?
A new wave?
Yeah. It's in the inbox.
Yes, Tyler.
Yeah.
Which is Jamie's son.
Oh, is that who?
Yeah, it's Tyler. He's been doing video game music for a while.
Nice.
And I sent him my intro with the guitar, and he kicked it back with like drums in it, but like I'm off time in it, and it sounds like mud. And I was like, listen, I can re-record the guitar and like send it to you so where this doesn't sound as bad, and like play to a metronome so it's on beat. I said, but if you're up to it, if you can create like an 8-bit sound or like a synth wave, like cool like 80s slasher sound for the song, and just like completely recompose it, I said, if you're up for it, go for it. And he was like, yeah, I'll do it. And I'm like, awesome.
Nice.
Cool.
So we'll see what he comes up with. I was talking to Jamie last night about it.
Oh,
so,
nice.
Yeah, we'll see. I'm excited to see what
that'd be
he
cool.
comes up with. He's got like songs on YouTube and stuff. I think he's called That One Tyler.
Oh, nice.
But he's been doing like video game music, so it's like right up that alley.
Yeah.
So it'll be fun. We'll see how it goes. So, Jason, would you like to do our intro?
How do I do it?
You just say, you say,
Did you write it down?
It's on his note thing.
Oh, yeah,
that I
let
sent
me
him.
bring it up.
But it's welcome to Little Bracket of Horrors, the pod that puts the fight in fright.
And wait, let me bring it up so I don't mess up. Where is it?
First Australian on the show.
I know. What part of Australia are you from?
Perth, the West Coast, yeah.
The worst coast?
The West.
No, West
Oh,
Coast.
I thought you said the worst coast.
No, the best coast.
There you go.
Okay, Derek.
I only had like 3 voices from Beyond.
Okay, here we go.
I posted on my page, but
Did anyone comment?
I got one from Ryan, but it was just like this movie, and then he asked me if I saw Romulus yet.
Oh. Calm down, people. It came out Friday.
Chill out. I understand, but did anyone comment on yours? I saw one guy. One guy? That's good. We'll take it.
Yeah, I commented on it.
You did. I said, not you. I was like, not you, silly.
All right.
You got it?
Yeah,
All right, cool.
Ready to roll.
You got your answers to your questions, too?
Yep, I'm right here in my head.
In my head.
That's the best place to have it.
I read
Dude,
through it.
I
I hate reading off a piece of paper.
I have nothing in my head, just notes. That's my show notes.
Sometimes we have to reel them back in.
I know. I get lost. I get
All
lost in
right.
the notes.
Okay, I'm ready.
Okay. Jay, whenever you're ready, go ahead and take it away, and then she'll hit the intro.